Hello students. So today we'll start the next part of elements, compounds and mixtures. So you know what are mixtures, isn't it? They are formed by mixing two or more pure substances. They may be elements or compounds in any proportion such that they do not undergo any chemical change and they retain their individual properties. Now, most of the substances which you see around you are mixtures. For example, air. It is a mixture of mainly oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide gases. It also contains water vapor, dust particles, and traces of inert gases. Now, mixtures are of two types: homogeneous, in which the components are uniformly distributed and cannot be seen separately. For example, salt solution, tap water. Heterogeneous mixture, in which the components are not uniformly distributed and can be easily seen separately. For example, soil. It is a mixture of many elements and compounds. Mud and water, sand and stone. Now let's see the differences between compounds and mixtures. I'll just point out the keywords. Compound, it is pure; mixture, impure. Compound, homogeneous; mixture, homogeneous or heterogeneous. Compound has a fixed composition; mixture, no fixed composition. Compound involves a change in energy; mixture, no change in energy. Compounds have a specific set of properties; mixtures do not have. Then compounds can be separated by complex chemical processes, whereas mixtures can be separated by simple physical methods like filtration, decantation, sedimentation, etc. Now, what is the purpose of separating the components of a mixture? To remove unwanted and harmful substances, to obtain pure and useful substances. Now, the principle of separation depends upon types of mixtures and their physical states, size, shape, and color of the mixtures, their characteristic properties such as boiling point, melting point, solubility, etc. So, for different kinds of mixtures, we are going to use different methods. So, we'll start with the separation of solid-solid mixtures. Now, at home, if we have tiny stone particles in rice or in wheat grain, what do? We separate them by hand picking. So, this is done when the quantity of mixture is small and the substance to be separated is in less amount and the size of particles to be separated are large and of different colors and shapes. Magnetic separation, in which a magnet is used for a magnetic metal. It can be iron, cobalt or nickel. For example, a mixture of iron and sulfur can easily be separated by magnetic separation. Then let's come to gravitational method. This is used only when one of the component is heavier than water and the other one is lighter than water. If a mixture of sand and sawdust is put in water, what will happen? Sawdust will float. Why? Because it is lighter than water and sand will settle down. Sublimation, you already know, a process in which a solid directly changes into its vapor on heating and then cooling again into solid. Examples: camphor, naphthalene, iodine, ammonium chloride. So, a mixture of sand and iodine, common salt and ammonium chloride can be separated by sublimation. Now, next is solvent extraction method. Now, what is a solvent? It is a medium in which a substance can dissolve. So, this method is used when one of the component of a mixture is soluble in a particular liquid, either water or any other solvent. and the other component, which is insoluble, is separated as a residue by filtration or by decantation. For example, a mixture of sodium chloride and calcium carbonate. You know that sodium chloride dissolves in water, whereas calcium carbonate is insoluble, which will settle down and hence separated. Now here you see few examples of substances and their solvent. For example, for sulfur the solvent is carbon disulfide, for nail polish acetone, for grease petrol, for chlorophyll methylated spirit. Now let's move to fractional crystallization. This method is used when the solubility of solid components of a mixture is different in the same solvent. In a mixture of common salt and potassium nitrate, both are soluble in water, but the solubility of potassium nitrate is more than that of sodium chloride. So, when the hot solution containing the mixture is cooled, potassium nitrate crystallizes out, leaving behind sodium chloride. Then let's move to separation of solid liquid mixtures which are either homogeneous or heterogeneous. Sedimentation and decantation, you know it very well. Sedimentation is the settling down of suspended, insoluble, heavy solid particles in a solid liquid mixture when they are left undisturbed. Okay, the solid which settles down is called sediment and the clear liquid is called as the supernatant liquid. And the process of pouring out the clear liquid is known as decantation. So, a mixture of sand and water can be separated. Another method, a very common method, is filtration, where insoluble solid particles can be separated from solid liquid mixture by passing through a filter. So, what happens is that the insoluble solid is left on the filter as residue, while the liquid which passes through is called as the filtrate. So, this method is used for separating the components of solid liquid mixtures in which the solids are insoluble in the liquid. For example, chalk and water, clay and water. The common filters used are filter paper, charcoal, which is also used in water filters, glass wool, layer of sand, which is used for purifying underground water. Distillation. It is the process of converting a liquid into vapor by heating and then the subsequent condensation of the vapor. So, you can see here, this is the conical flask or the distilling flask in which we take a salt solution. On heating, what will happen? Water will vaporize and then water will pass through the delivery tube. Okay. Now, when water passes through the delivery tube, you can see there is a Liebig condenser, an outer jacket. Okay. And what is there in the Liebig condenser? Cold water comes inside. And what happens to the vapors? Since they are surrounded by the jacket of cold water, they get condensed into water droplets and collected in the receiver, and salt is left behind in the conical flask. So, tap water, which is a mixture containing dissolved salt, can be purified by this method and it is called as distilled water. Next is centrifugation. It is the method of separating solids from liquids where the mixture is homogeneous. It is also called as churning. So, what is used? An apparatus called centrifuge is used for this purpose. The mixture is placed in the centrifuge tube and rotated at a high speed. The heavy solid particles move towards the bottom and the light solid particles float on the liquid. For example, cream is separated from milk by this method. In washing cloth also the same technique is working, as well as in diagnostic laboratories for testing blood and urine. Now, separation of liquid-liquid mixtures. If the mixtures are immiscible, liquid, then we can use the method of separating funnel. Now, as you can see in the diagram, we take the immiscible mixture in the separating funnel and leave it for some time. Now, water being heavier forms the lower layer, whereas the kerosene being lighter forms the upper layer. When we open the stopcock, after the layers are formed distinctly, so what will happen? Water will get collected in a beaker, and what will be left behind? Kerosene oil will be left behind. So, in this way we can separate the mixture of immiscible liquids. Next is fractional distillation. Okay, it is used to separate the components of a homogeneous liquid mixtures. Homogeneous means which are miscible. So how they are separated? On the basis of the difference in their boiling points. But the difference in their boiling points must be at least 25 degrees Celsius or more. For example, a mixture of water and alcohol. Alcohol, it boils at a lower temperature, and for this a fractionating column is fitted over the distilling flask, so that if water vapors move up along with alcohol, it should condense and come back to the flask. Okay, so this fractionating column allows uniform collection. Okay, what will happen? Only the alcohol vapors will go up, and if by chance water vapor also goes there, it will come down. So, if we take the mixture of water and alcohol, alcohol, since it has the lower boiling point, it will vaporize and it will get collected in the receiver, whereas water will be left behind in the conical flask. So, a very useful application is the fractional distillation of crude petroleum. You can see here in the diagram. Okay, you can see at the bottom, big molecules with high boiling points are separated. Then comes fuel oil 360 degrees Celsius, gas oil 260 degrees Celsius, kerosene 170 degrees Celsius, petrol 40 degrees Celsius, then other petroleum gases are below 40 degrees Celsius. Now there are few modern techniques like chromatography. This is one of the latest technique to separate the colored components of a mixture when all the components are very similar in their properties. The name chromatography means color writing. Why? Because it was used to separate mixtures containing colored components only. But nowadays it is applied to colorless substances too. So, the process of separating different constituents of a mixture by their adsorption. Adsorption is absorption only on the top layer on an appropriate material is called chromatography. So, the method is based on the difference in the rate of adsorption of different components on the surface of a suitable adsorbent. So, common adsorbents used are filter paper, silica gel, etc. Common solvents used are water, ethyl alcohol, acetic acid, etc. So, the components of ink, which is a mixture of different dyes, can easily be separated as few dyes are less soluble and some are more soluble in the solvent. So, they will get separated at different lengths on the filter paper. So, what are the advantages of chromatography? A very small quantity of the substance can be separated. Components with very similar physical and chemical properties also can be separated, and it also identifies the different constituents of a mixture. Application: it is used to separate colors in a dye, drugs from blood, pigments from natural color, and to purify many industrial products. Now let's come to the last one, that is the separation of gas-gas mixtures. First is diffusion. It depends upon the differences in the densities of the gases present in the mixture. The lighter gas diffuses more rapidly as compared to the heavier one. A mixture of hydrogen and oxygen can be separated as hydrogen is lighter than oxygen and diffuses first. Okay, so this process is called as diffusion. Next is again solvent extraction for the separation of gaseous mixtures. So some gases dissolve in water or in some other solvent, whereas some gases are not or less soluble. For example, if you take a mixture of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide is highly soluble in water, whereas carbon monoxide is sparingly, means very less soluble. Then comes liquefaction. Some gases like ammonia, carbon dioxide, they liquefy easily at high temperature and high pressure and low temperature. Okay, these are the two conditions. What are those? High pressure and low temperature. So if we take a mixture of ammonia and nitrogen, they can be separated by this method as ammonia is liquefied easily, leaving behind nitrogen gas. Thank you.